Okay, we are live today. I'm Angela Hughes, Luxury Travel University, and also the owner of Trips and Ships Luxury Travel. And I am joined today with Ash Tem. Do I have that right? Is it Tem or Tembe or Tem? And tell us your gigantic title, because you're.
I work for a lot of people. I always say. I think our process. I'm the VP of Sales, but I mean, I work for my team. That's my job there, to make them more powerful and great BDMs and great, reservationists. And that's kind of my job. So I report to a lot of people. I'm not the boss.
So he says that, but he is the vice president of worldwide sales for the AIC Hotel Group. And that is Hard Rock, Nobu, Eden Rock. Did I miss anybody?
Unico.
Oh, Unico, where I just stayed last week. Forgot about that. So, and he's growing this bushy beard that I almost didn't recognize him because he has that clean cut look on Facebook. And now he's riding a Harley Davidson during his break. No. So tell us a little bit about your properties, and then let's get into like the strategies of what you are going to teach us about today. So.
Well, I mean, I'm going to. People know our products, but I don't think people understand why we chose those products. So, as we started as a hotel group, an AIC Hotel Group, one of the things we really wanted to do was bring brands to the market that were completely different than what's out there today. And Hard Rock was the first one. At that point, most of the all-inclusives were pretty much what we call vanilla. And Hard Rock was such a different concept, a different brand, bringing music in, bringing those things that were kind of missing in the world of all-inclusives, which is nightlife, fun. Most all-inclusives were like couples driven because of, it was romance, and, romance can be boring at times. So we wanted to bring in fun with romance. So that's kind of like why we went down this path of Hard Rock. Unico is a brand we made up ourselves. It was all of us sitting in a room and say, what's missing in the luxury market? And we all as a team built that from the ground up, from design to concept to room to really a lot of the product was built by women, which is really kind of cool. They put those special touches that make Unico really that special. And it really was all the things that bother us about all-inclusives we removed and made Unico with that. Our third brand is Nobu, and we just love the Nobu vibe and brand of Nobu and how cool it is and how fun it is and how people will spend anything for it. So we went down that path recently and working with those. So all the brands that we tend to use and work with are a little bit different than what's out there today. And that makes it harder. But once the travel agent understands who we are, it makes it super easy. Getting that message out. And, a lot of people are still afraid of the Hard Rock brand. They don't understand it. But
okay. I think I was one of those people until I went down with my rep, Caitlin, to Hard Rock several years ago. I was like, oh, that's not for me. It's going to be too loud. It's going to be too crazy. And now I've stayed there probably a dozen times, and we filtered so much business to Hard Rock. And so it's just been like, I share that experience with a lot of people. Like, you really don't know what you're getting into with Hard Rock.
And it's a scary brand if you think about it. And I think once we get the people and the right person too, it's the right agent that works with us. And, I think the agent that works with us is a little bit fun loving. I think that they are looking for something different because, if you can't sell someone on some other concept and then they actually enjoy it, you're not really giving yourself value. When they go and enjoy it, the value of Angela comes back. Like, she's the one who recommended me to this. I trust her from now on, because that was great. So we kind of go down the path of those type of brands, but it's not easy. It's a lot of work. I think a lot of people think that selling Hard Rock is easy. That you've been through it. You didn't in the beginning want to even talk about it, and then somebody sold you on it, and now you do the same. So we have a lot of work to do as a sales team to get that to work.
Okay, so today, because we're talking to a lot of groups of agents across the board, and then I've got a lot of friends that are just listening into that probably just want to hear as well. We want to talk about some strategies today and not so many products and features with your company, because I think we're all product and featured out through COVID. And so let's think about the first thing I want to know, your top agencies, what are they doing that's making them so top notch?
Well, I actually think it's a very simple thing. Is our BDM team is really focused on an agency that focuses back. You got to have that connection. It's a relationship. And so anyone who's really top with us has kind of really understood who we are, and then understand that relationship of the business development manager, and that person's very, attentive. And I think, this goes back to like some of my old experience. But when I built this sales force here at AIC Hotel Group, one of the main things I did was I took an old survey that I got when I worked at Royal Caribbean, and that survey went out to all travel agents, and what came back from that survey was that, there's certain key things that a BDM can do, but most companies don't allow them to do that. They don't have the empowerment to make decisions. They don't have the empowerment to do things. And we just removed all that. So our BDMs are really, an extension of, and I try to give them more power than I have, so they can make decisions. And so once a travel agent gets a taste of that speed to answers, speed to, just getting that answer back to their client, that's what differentiates us in general. And I'm just shocked that a lot of people haven't followed suit. It's pretty simple to do. You just have to trust your people, and they trust the travel agent. It's not a hard, I can't write a book on this and make money. It's pretty simple.
So one of the things that I think I hear you saying is, like, if you want to be upping your commissions, and you need to build a relationship with your BDM and have them help you grow that business.
Absolutely.
That's what's really helped me with my own BDM, Caitlin, is she's helped me grow the business over the last couple of years. And for agents that are watching all over the board today, that's an important feature for you. If you're not in bed with a company, get there and find out everything they have to offer. I mean, I had been selling groups and weddings and different things to Hard Rock and didn't even know who my BDM was, and for years. So I didn't know all the perks and benefits that came with it until I got on the trip with her and discovered what you guys are all about. And then I could have kicked myself because I had left a lot of commission on the table, and also just that relationship of trying to do it myself. So,
well, I mean, I'll give you a number that'll scare you, but we only know 50% of the agencies that sell us. And because of the process, we really recommend you to book the way you want to. So when you use a wholesaler, we lose, Angela Hughes. We don't know who that is. We know the guest, and we know it came through that tour operator, but we lose Angela Hughes. And once they actually put in for the amplified rewards, we find out who they are, and then we're able to work with them. So a lot of times it's just reaching out. You can be home-based. You can be, in the middle of nowhere, but our BDMs will work it out. We have the actual capacity to work with a lot more agencies. We don't necessarily always find them, or they don't reach out, and we don't knock on doors. So we're not going to your house. so it's kind of like a catch-22 of working with the community and trying to figure out, who's selling from different things.
Okay. So I guess the next question is, now that we have a lot of people on voluntary furlough and different, things, as we try to like financially survive through COVID, and you're not the only company, it's every company out there. I feel like it has made it harder to do business. How can we do business better when we have less feet on the ground, and, try to grow that market space when it takes longer, just, with every company, it's not your company, everybody is just slower and slower to get information back. And, we don't have, we don't have that facial presence that we used to have with people.
Well, what we did is we are at a 50% sales staff right now. And most of them were voluntary, in the sense that, and you have Caitlin. Caitlin's situation is she has a child, and that child is going to go to school, and there's a lot of unknowns, and there were some opportunities for her to take some FMLA, and she did.
Yeah, she's going to love that we're talking about her on the show now. Thank you.
I've worked with her for a long time, by the way. Caitlin, right now. I hired Caitlin a long time ago at another company, so she's fantastic, and I'm glad that she's with us. But that email is still going to be there. It's going to go to somebody else, and that person's going to handle it the best they can and maintain what we possibly can as things start coming back. We are seeing some things start to come back. I mean, it's not through the roof yet, but I think what'll be missing in the meantime is going to be that local, how can I grow your business right now? Although we do need it, it's just a little difficult thing to do. Answers are taking longer in general, only because I'm half staff in Miami. They're half staff on property. There's rules about 30% occupancies, which then also comes down to staffing. So not every salesperson's on the property. It's not as easy as, we never did this before, but we turn down site inspections all the time because they're last minute. And that person's not on property that day who does site inspection. So there's a lot of little pieces of the puzzle that's not as smooth, but
right.
Hope as we turn the year and things happen, we'll get back to where that is.
What was let's get all personal here. What was the decision to like cut the you probably knew this was coming, but to cut like the R&R? Well, you didn't cut the R&R nights, but you cut the bonus commissions. Can we see that coming back in the future?
No. I mean, honestly, it's coming back in January for sure.
Okay.
We only ended it for really the main reason is we had this system that's a very simple system that basically takes your booking and it confirms your booking that it traveled. Well, that booking was part of a group that has now been moved twice because of COVID and then now has a travel voucher that someone took or a credit. That's just, it's just not built to do that. And because we're short-staffed, I just can't have one person answering questions all day on how to find a booking that may not even traveled yet because we don't know what happened with the travel certificate that they got from the tour operator. It is just we're just not programmed for that. So instead of doing that, what we decided to do was focus on paying all the agents for the first half of the year. We will, we're telling people to put their information in. They're still getting their R&R nights. And then we'll relaunch the program again in January and fix everything that, we couldn't really handle systematically.
Yeah, that's good to hear that explained because I don't think sometimes when we're sitting home booking, we're understanding what's happening, on the other side of it.
I'll give you a great example. So we did this extension of the R&R nights for a year. Yeah. Right. So if you had it this year, you could travel next year with it. It's all manual because there's no system that can fix and handle that right now. Because not our system. We didn't, we're not Google. We have this little system in Cancun that kind of works with our reservation system. Sometimes we make those decisions because systematically we can't handle it. And in order for us to handle it, we need 4 or 5 more people, which we just can't put on right now. Yeah. And we just have to, we had to make that decision. It's one of the toughest decisions we've ever had to make because we love this program. And this program is very important to us because it's one of the things that keep your status. It keeps your R&R nights. It makes people experience it without actually being on a FAM. It's important. So we tried to keep the core of what we could, but we could not. The payment was just so difficult. The other thing is the payment was pegged to be a certain percentage of our rate. So and it's like 4%, 3 to 4%, depending on the category. Right. So it's a little bonus. But when you start dropping your rate so much because of COVID, now that becomes 10%. So you got to be careful on that as well. So there was so many pieces of the puzzle that made us make that decision. And we just put it, we couldn't even find the word for it. But basically, we're just going to hold on to it until January 1 to start again. So we're not ending.
Really, with prices so low, I couldn't figure out how you guys were doing that. Plus, giving agents free nights and everything. It was pretty generous to start with. At a low rate.
It'll be back. So I wouldn't worry about that at all. It's not something that we wanted to. We're not trying to get out of it. If we wanted to get out of it, this would have been a perfect time for us to say, "Hey, it's over and goodbye." But that's not what we're trying to do. It's not. Okay.
So tip number 2: if you are not registered with the AIC Hotel Group, you need to go online and get registered at All In Agents with them because Ash is telling us that probably 50% of you guys out there listening are not registered with them. And you'll be doing like I did for years, leaving a ton of commission on the table and also the free nights and everything and relationships. So, so go ahead and get registered there at All In Agents and figure out who your rep is. Right now, they might be on the sideline for a little bit until January, but they're coming back. And, things are going to be looking up in 2021. Okay. Also,
every BDM email is being answered. I mean, that's a guarantee. Yeah. Because that goes, like Caitlin's goes to another BDM who is handling, they're all handling maybe one extra BDM and a half in a way.
So if you're kind of feeling like you're lost, it's moving on to the next person. So that's really good to know. Okay. Also, if you have questions during this broadcast, shoot them to me just in the comments, and you can ask Ash live. Okay. So let's go back to strategies for a minute. So your first strategy was like, you have to know who your rep is. You have to build a relationship with them. That's what your top agencies are doing. Is there some preferential treatment to these agencies that are doing, your platinum double, whatever the highest level? I mean, because how does someone actually become that person? Because I feel like if you're not a wedding person, then you're never going to make it to the top. Well,
no, I disagree with that.
Okay.
We have agents that are, I think, some of the things we talk about is, and it's a hard thing to say in a forum, but we have really good wedding accounts, and those really good wedding accounts can do 3 weddings a year and be very high up with us. We also have FIT sellers who sell pretty much 1 or 2 Hard Rocks a week, FIT one at a time, and they're also at those high levels. And it really depends on how they do it, and they do different types of events, and they do different types of marketing, and some of them they brunt the cost, some we co-op with them. It really depends on the agency. Some are specialized in certain types of weddings. Some are specialized in groups. Some do spring break getaways. It's really what that agency wants to do. It's just we're a brand that can handle a lot of that. We really.
Right. I think one that you looked out that would be super good is just girlfriend weekend trips too.
Yeah.
There's lots of smaller groups that you can do that are not. Like my agency's been involved with dental groups and a couple weddings, but there's lots of little small things you guys can put together that just could be 3 nights here, or 3 nights at Unico, mom's weekend out, or I think would be super, super good to do. Okay.
Use social. I mean, use social. We can get you all kinds of stuff social wise. It's not like really brand driven. It's more like a picture and then you talk about it. So use social to do that girls getaway that you go after. It's let's take Unico, which is a great brand that's really gotten a great feedback on like social, and we do a lot of influencers there, so people know about it. So aligning with that, it's something that most people don't know about. So all of a sudden you look like this. This knowledge, like secret knowledge having travel agent that knows this secret place. But then all of a sudden you realize a lot of people heard about it. I got to go check this out. So
I actually was dying to get there. It took me 3 years to get there because I missed every fam trip. I mean, it just always fell on a bad thing. And finally went there like 3 weeks ago. And I honestly was freaking out because it was perfect for like our boutique luxury agency. It is sleek, a leading hotel of the world. It's not big and loud. It was just so great for like so many clients like in our portfolio that I think every single person needs to try that out there. That's just like a must do because it'll change. Like my husband had been to many Hard Rocks and loves the Hard Rocks, but he was like, oh my gosh, I feel like we're actually on a different vacation in Mexico, which Mexico for me is probably, because I do a lot of Europe and exotics, would be B-list, C-list trip. Like, I'm not dying to go to Mexico, even though we're there like 4 times a year, but it's just not like, oh, let's go to Mexico. And he literally was like, this makes me feel like I'm on a different trip down here. And I loved that. And he's like, when are we going again? And my husband's kind of a tough sell on a lot of things. And so that goes to show you that a lot of people will love that product when they get down there. And it's just such a different
But the hardest part about that product was, I mean, when you look at the concept that we started with, and we went down different ideas, but the main concept was we wanted to give an EP feel at an all-inclusive. And one of the biggest battles we had was, should we write the word all-inclusive there or not? We had a concept initially that basically said we were just going to say everything was on the house, that we weren't going to say all-inclusive. That you just go, you get your drinks, and then the bartender says, hey, this is on the house, it's on me. You sit at dinner, and then by the time you realize 3 days in, then that was kind of the initial thing, but then, all the PR people like, but then they won't come. And I'm glad we didn't go down that path, but it was a great thought process, to think about that. Like imagine the bartender, we've like 3 days and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not paying for anything. This is great.
It looks like Belvin jumped on one of our viewers today, Belvin, and he actually has a link to his YouTube video showing you what his stay looked like recently at Unico. So thanks for putting that in the comments for us. Okay, let's keep going on strategies today. What about new agents that don't have a lot of business? And that seems to be a lot of people only had 6 months of, maybe not even the new agents, but they don't have a lot of in the pipeline, not just because of COVID, but maybe they were starting out a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. What's your best advice for like kind of that fresher agent that is struggling to know every all-inclusive out there and struggling to know who to partner with and maybe hates going through Apple vacations after COVID, other things like, and that's going to be a struggle. We'll talk about that in a minute. So give us some advice for that person.
I will give you great advice on that. I think the first thing a new travel agent needs to do is define their brand and who they are and what they're going to do and what they're going to go after. It sounds really great as a new travel agent that I want to go sell Italy, but it's not that easy. And, you have to start somewhere. And I think that's why people go down this destination wedding, or they want to focus on family getaways or things like that. Then pick a few products that have support would be my next step, because there's tons of great products out there. You can go up and down the strip, and I'm not going to make fun of any other brands because I enjoy doing that with my team, but I can't do that on this Facebook page. Pick ones that have the support and that have, there's so many preferreds out there that you don't even know what's preferred anymore, which is a little bit scary, but find the ones that have great reputations that actually get back to you. And that's the ones you can start with. And then you learn those. You don't have to spend all day going everywhere in the beginning. Pick the few that you know well and sell them really well. Because they really, you can, take our collection, you can find something for everybody in our collection. With Nobu, you can get all of your EP people that are really snobby and do not want to go to an all-inclusive. For Unico, you can get a really high-end client that's in the middle and just wants great value. Hard Rock can get the people who are really fun, and families as well, because families, what's the number one thing a teenager says on vacation is on board, and they don't say that at a Hard Rock. So you can really, with our brand, know it really well and hit all aspects of your client base. You just got to know it well, and you got to be able to answer those questions. And a lot of times if you go on, I used to work for a wholesaler years ago, and our strategy was make everyone see every hotel, and I couldn't remember them. So how was a travel agent going to remember them?
Right.
And I kind of disagree with that model of site inspection after site inspection. I'd rather you, instead of doing 10 site inspections, pick 3 and really experience those 3 properties. And not just mine, it could be 3 other brands, but don't go see everybody because you're going to get nothing out of it. You're not going to remember anything.
Right.
And you can't answer the questions as well.
Yeah. And I think one of the strategies that we've gone to, especially the last couple of years, but even more so coming out of COVID. So I've been in the travel business since I was 14. I'm 51 years old now, giving away my age live. I'm second generation travel agency of my parents who own and operated big agencies out in the West. And the thing is now, like we've used so many different tour operators and everything to book the travel. But I think one of the best moves that we made, and this is where getting to know your business development manager really helped us, was just going directly. And it was a little bit painful at first. I mean, I'd call her and be like, oh my gosh, this is so slow, or, like we're not getting we need faster feedback. And then it was so interesting, like literally, that decision now is something that we're doing all across the board for like Mexico and different destinations, Punta Cana, everything, selecting, your group of hotels and maybe one other that, on the lower end side. And so if people, if somebody's going to be able to fit into every single hotel that we've selected, and your product has enough in the destinations that you serve that, we're probably going to be able to find a property within the portfolio, booking directly, because we're getting higher commission. We're bypassing the tour operator, who most of us hate now because the tour operators, just have taken 90 days to refund and 100 days to be able to make a change. And no kidding, one tour operator I had booked to Hawaii. I literally just wanted to change into the Nobu in Miami and American Airlines flight. And literally it took 5 weeks to make a simple change like that. And so those decisions haven't come lightly, but it's come because it's so much easier to almost work direct and then charge a fee for the airline. And, we charge fees obviously as well to book through our agency. So I feel like that's a really great model for people out there is if you're a new agent or you've been own your agency for a really long time, you don't have to use a third party operator. I mean, they'll give you the contract.
I think this, once again, that's an answer that comes down to like, how high touch are you as an agency? What is your brand? What do you guys do? We work with great tour operators, and every one of them are great customers of ours, and they all have just like they compete against each other, and they have certain pluses and minuses, and you just got to find what that is that works for you based on that operator. For me, we are not, we say any way you want to do this that works for you as a travel agent is the greatest thing in the world. And I'm going to bring it to something else, which I'm very similar to you. I'm older than you, number one. And I started at my mom's travel agency at around 11 or 12 years old, stamping brochures and cleaning the bathroom.
It's all the children working together.
Oh, no. I mean, I used to, and it's funny because I used to rate BDMs as they came in the door.
Same.
Yeah, that was a good one. Oh, that was a bad one. That one was boring.
Yes.
So, for us, our position, we offer a great opportunity with Power Agent, but we also have great partnerships with our tour operators. And I know they're going through some tough things right now, and I think they'll fix all their stuff. We're going through tough things as well. All of us are. But it's a high touch thing. How high touch are you as an agency? What are those things that you need? How much? Because that could be the difference maker for you as your brand. Is I'm more of a high touch, and I even on an all-inclusive, I get very, very, very detailed. And how can I handle that with my partners? And that's really the question you guys have to answer yourselves. I can't answer that for you.
Well, I think there's kind of a fear that some of these tour operators who are big names, and we're in bed with all of them too. So, I don't want to, just trash them live, but I think people are fearing like, hey, are they going to be able to come out of this financially strong? And is it better to go direct? That's a fear I think that we're all just sitting on right now is, who's going to be around in 6 months, is a big concern for a lot of people.
I mean, I think if you look in the history, that's happened when tough things happen. Some didn't come out, some did. Some have gotten bigger, and we don't know financial viability at the end of the day of anybody, and including a travel agency or ourselves. But I just know that right now for us, we have a new program called Power Agent. We are really, really, really trying to focus on the high touch part of it. But my BDMs never really get out there and say, this is one way or the other. It really has to work for you as an agency. If you're selling a ton of destinations, and because I know this, my mom was a big go-go seller back in the day. Yeah. I'm talking like, in the 70s and the 80s, the go-go office was down the street, and it was a service she needed. She needed to drive down and pick up the documents and hand the documents because everyone had documents back then. And that's why she booked go-go. And she still books go-go today, because that was just her thing. And I mean, and that was a service level they needed at that time. And I think that's the same thing today. What is the service level you need? Is it, no one has documents anymore? I kind of laugh at that, but that was my mom's service she needed. And matter of fact, when I actually was able to drive, I used to drive to go and go pick up the documents.
And then delivered them, right?
I went, and it was close. I mean, back then there was like 88 offices all over the country. So you were pretty much close to something. And, that was how it was. And that's how it is today. It's just, what is that touch? It's just a little bit more, there are no documents, and, I don't know many people have offices like they used to. So it's what's the touch you need for your agency. Maybe you're selling a lot of different products and you want to really put that all together to make more money. That could be an option as well.
Okay. So how does somebody what's the next step for somebody coming out of COVID now? I mean, a lot of us have sold the certificates, but I feel like we're sitting kind of stagnant right now. Like what would be your best advice to help jumpstart people into selling more, and what methods should they use? Because, a lot of agents come to me and they're like, I post on Facebook every day. And I'm like, well, that's a really top of the funnel, sales funnel thing. What strategy can they use to actually kind of move the ball down the court a little bit?
Well, I think the first thing everyone needs to do is take a step back and say, what would you do and what would you book? I think sometimes we're in the travel industry and we forget that. And, what are you looking for? Number one. So number one, I think what I would look for is there flexibility in whatever I'm choosing? Because I don't know what's going to happen. And, right now, my son's going to college this year, and we could not figure out when to book the tickets, but everything we've booked, we have to look at being flexible, because what if something happens in the next 2 weeks? And so I think that's really important, is what's the flexibility that you have. And then I think the second thing is, we saw a lot of good traction with things where you show what the price used to be and what it is right now. So the value is really important. You look at, that hotel that was $600 a night and you knew it was $600 is now $450. You see the value on certain brands there. And I think that's what someone's also looking for. So when you are posting, if you're just posting, like good and happy stuff, get specific. I know that a guy on my team was doing some really specific, like, oh my God, I spilled my coffee was his thing. And those were really getting good traction because the travel agent was taking that and sending that out and understanding what that was. If that Unico could be $600-700 a night and now it's $400, it's a hell of a deal. And we haven't cut back anything at the hotel. I mean, other than one by law place we have to close down because it's kind of a club, everything else is open. So you're getting the same experience, but you're paying a lot less. And so I think those are the things that are working right now. That flexibility, I think, is huge. And how do you really talk to someone on that? And I don't know if we're all that clear on, I think we are as a company, but I don't think all products are clear on what would happen if there was another COVID pop up or if I need to move my wedding, what do I do?
Like emotionally, we can go down that road yet, because we just can't.
People are still thinking about that. Like, people are worried about that, especially like if I got invited to a wedding today, I'd like to know if, like, I don't want to lose my money. I lost money on a trip sitting at some hotel in France. And I don't think I'll ever get back there in a time that credit is worth because. No.
And I'm the same with Fiji. I'm sitting on Fiji and Australia and a river cruise and just lots of stuff. And
I don't mind having it. I don't feel like I got cheated. I just kind of feel like, how am I going to get there? What am I going to do with that money? Well, the good thing about Mexico is I know you can just last minute just get on a plane and go. Nice, south of France is not as easy. So
you never get there.
So
that is really focusing on Booking Direct, you do have that flexibility. I know they've been really flexible with the people that we've sent this summer, even to the point that one of my clients just paid on site when they got there. That's how loving they were when we first booked them, because they didn't know.
You have to be. It's so like last minute. And so, is the flight going to go? Are they going to cancel the flight? Are they going to move the flight? Are they going to, so it's a lot. But that's really how I would really position myself, is finding out those brands that are being very flexible with you. Because that's what the consumer wants, and stating it. This is a great deal, super flexible.
I have two more questions for you before we finish up. The first one is, when you're looking at your top agents, what's the profile that you usually see with them? Like, how could you just say, like, this is, my superstar agent avatar? You know what I'm saying? Like,
is there a profile of an agent? Are you asking me? Is that what you're?
Well, no, I mean, just like if you're looking at a superstar salesperson, like what are you seeing when you talk about that person, like that ideal client avatar for yourself?
For a customer. Honestly, I actually think it's a fun-loving. I actually have a specific thing, but I can't say it. But we. Say it. No, it is a person that I think had a great time in college, and now they're older, and they still want to have a little bit of fun. They still enjoy fun. They still enjoy experiences. They still enjoy that, and I think that's the perfect travel agent for us. They're not overly. They're looking for their clientele is fun. Their clientele's a lot like them, and that's usually who we tend to do well with. It's our agents are not, and I hate to say this, but we don't have the 60 and 70 and 80-year-old agents working with us. They don't like our brand. We're getting a different set of agents that are,
I really wonder if that's just because they don't understand your brand. Because I feel like even though I'm 10 years younger than that, I probably was placed in that group for a long time. But really, like when I saw the Nobu, I thought the Nobu, after living in Asia for a couple of years, I was like, oh my gosh, this Nobu is dreamy, and I mean, I can see older agents going to Unico. I can see them going to the Nobu properties,
it's not necessarily an age. I think it's more of like a mindset, I'm going to break you down because you're, 1 year younger than me. So we can talk about that.
Luckily, when you're older. Okay.
We went to college. We listened to music growing up that was different than our parents. There's a lot of little things for our set of people that hard rock fits. It's a mixture of music. I still listen to new music now because my kids listen to music. One of the things we did on a presentation was like, parents now listen to the same music as their kids, which we didn't do when I didn't do when I was growing up. We went to colleges that had silly bar parties and stuff like that, and we enjoyed ourselves. And now, we got families and we changed a little bit. We still enjoy having fun. And I think that's like all of our travel agents seem to be about the same like that. They're all, fun loving. They're, we don't have, and I don't know why, we just don't have these annoying travel agents working with us. They're really cool and fun loving, and they really are like into selling, and they love our programs, and they love working with our BDMs. And, we don't have, I don't find it stressful in our job. We have great, we look forward to our big event, Showstoppers, because our agents are awesome and they're fun. And we have great stories with them.
Are you guys going to redo that, or is that kind of like off the budget now?
No, we're definitely going to do it.
So
we're definitely going to do it. The Showstopper is our, we really came out big with that event. We do it over the top. It's super, super fun. Our agents love it. They fight to get to it. So there's no reason.
I was in Cabo at that grand opening, and I swear that was like the best weekend of my life. I became 16 years old again at that. I'm all out there like,
oh yeah. Yeah, no,
okay.
I mean, that's the great thing about the brand, and it's fun. I mean, we all went to concerts when we were younger.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, okay. I saw Kiss without makeup for the first time.
Documented. Okay, what's your final last big statement? You've got the floor here, and the power is in the replay in these broadcasts. So what's your big final thing that you want us to know, that you want us to grow and develop, become, etc.
I mean, I really break it down to, really take a look at our brand. If you never looked at hard rock before, and before you really put it to the side, I'll give you a figure. We did close to 20% of the weddings in Cancun and Riviera Maya at Hard Rocks. So
wow. Okay.
A huge wedding destination. And you got to break into the whys of it. And I think those are why people don't really know us. But a destination wedding, bride and groom's number one thing is they want their friends and family to have a good time. And if your all-inclusive closes at 9:00 at night, how are they going to have a good time? Right. And that's really what we do so well with destination weddings. We become a major destination for that. The Hard Rock brand is one of the most complicated brands because it has a huge, long history. People know the crazy pool parties in Vegas, but we don't do that at the hotels. We're more of a luxury experience with a lot of fun. We spend more on live music.
Because I always question this, how come you guys only have some of the Hard Rocks in your brand and not the other Hard Rocks? I just came from Vegas.
It's a franchise. So we actually started the all-inclusive Hard Rocks. And right now there's no other ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them. So we're franchisees, just like Nobus. We don't own all the Nobus. We only own the ones that we bought.
Okay. That's I did not know that.
Unico's our brand. No one else can really have that, but other people could get a Hard Rock, which could get confusing.
Yeah.
But all of the brands are very, very different. They got a great why story. They got a great brand story. They're very high quality in everything we do. You just gotta come forward and take a chance. And I think that's really the why we don't have I think we work with maybe 2,000 agents only in the entire country. It's because there's that fear of taking that step forward and saying, hey, I really want to learn about this. How do I do that? And when you do that and you partner with us, people get the benefits, and it's super awesome because of all the things that we do for our agents.
Yeah, and I agree. Great partnership. You guys, should go down the field with these guys as far as you can go. I'm Angela Hughes. You can join me at the Luxury Travel Social Media Marketing Group, where I'm always giving out tons of free advice on how to build your luxury travel business and your marketing strategies for your agency. And I also own my own agency, Trips and Ships Luxury Travel, where we love the Hard Rock product. And we're so thankful to have Tembe with us today, the Vice President of this whole AIC Hotel Group. So thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you so much. It was great. You made it easy.